Hello there, everybody. I hope you've all had a wonderful work week. So, when is your audience not necessarily your end customer? Now, for those of you in B2B, you might be familiar with this concept. Part of your job in marketing is to engage and win over distributors or resellers of your product, or maybe retail outlets that help you sell your product, or service brokers that help you promote your product, maybe even influencers who can help you reach your end customer at scale. Now, this is one of the core focuses of great content marketing. And this week, one of the biggest brands in the world, well, they showed us why this should still be a key focus of even the most incumbent of all brands. Yeah, this week, Coca-Cola, the B2C brand, launched a new content platform and they called it Coca-Cola Lens. Now, a quick side note here, my email newsletter is also called Lens, and I'm not saying they stole my name, but I'm not saying they didn't steal my name either. I mean, I am that inspiring. Anyway, the company launched this new B2B platform to provide industry trends, data-backed insights, and other thought leadership to their network of current and prospective retailers, food service outlets, and other sellers of their various brands. Now, why would a big brand like Coca-Cola feel the need to launch a B2B content platform for marketing? And what does that really mean? Well, you want to know a little more? Let's chat about it. This is a few minutes of what's new in marketing that might help you lead your business's strategy. Let's pop the top on Coca-Cola's B2B content and smile. And let's roll. Hello there, everybody. Robert Rose here with What's New in Marketing. It is What's New in Marketing, but most importantly, you know the drill by now. It's something important in marketing that we think may help you be better. And if we can help you or your team with content marketing services like custom training or consultation, ongoing implementation of your content marketing approach, or just a couple of extra hands and arms and brains, well, get on over to Content Marketing Institute, fill out that form, and let's talk about it. We can help. So this week, brand giant Coca-Cola, well, they announced during the National Restaurant Association show that they're launching a new content marketing platform. Only it's not a content platform targeted to consumers. It's one targeted to businesses, specifically the retailers and restaurant partners who sell Coca-Cola in their establishment. The new site and email newsletter is called Coca-Cola Lens, and it's simply a great example of a content marketing and differentiating approach to brand ideas. The site features a library of thought leadership articles that examine shopper behavior, the economic context that can help these restaurants and retailers become better business managers, original and proprietary research, third-party resources, news as it relates to topics like multicultural consumerism, the growth of things like premium water, all kinds of things to help these companies become better. But then, additionally, it's also providing simple tips on managing inventory and other elements of how the restaurant or retail business might be optimized in the modern world. It's just so clearly an initiative meant to establish deeper levels of trust in the Coca-Cola brand, and yet another reason that a retailer or a restaurant would want to align their business with that particular brand. Now, if this sounds a little bit like I'm pitching Coca-Cola, like I'm a PR person for Coke, I'm not. I haven't spoken to anybody there. I don't know anybody there. I don't even know anybody associated with this initiative, but I am excited for a few of the ideas that seem to be evident from this launch from the outside looking in. So the first is the idea that Coca-Cola, one of the more sophisticated marketers on the planet, well, they've decided to make their B2B enablement strategy such a visible and notable piece of a brand and marketing approach. They're launching this with a press release. They're launching it with a session at the National Restaurant Association show. And so it seems to not just be some private little project that they're keeping under wraps. Second, with only 16 articles here and the basics of this, simple but nice website, well, it's clear that Coca-Cola didn't break into anybody's piggy bank to launch this thing. The budget was for this, I'm sure, a rounding error on the rounding error of their overall marketing budget. I mean, I have to imagine that they determined that, 16 articles and a little bit of time here were enough for them to make a business decision on whether or not this is good to be good as a long-term play or not. Now, there are also ways to subscribe to the content via email. So the company does seem to be at least saying implicitly that there's an intention of doing this long-term if it all works out. And the fact that it's all public and not behind some firewall seems to also indicate that they're not only interested in demonstrating to their existing customers that they're a good partner, but in developing relationships with new retailers, new restaurants as well. In fact, in the subscription form to the email, well, there are calls to action for those who are not currently customers to check out why they should become that. So this becomes a bit of an awareness play. That's right, an awareness play from Coca-Cola to build and attract new restaurants and retailers as their reseller and customers. Finally, one of the other reasons that I really like this initiative and maybe a little overexcited about it is that it demonstrates that there's still an eagerness to launch new content marketing platforms in 2024, and that, well, even if you're a well-established brand like Coca-Cola, that there may be value in doing something innovative, small in scope, but mighty in ambition. These kinds of experiments and small to medium-sized campaigns are something that I've really seen a decline in over recent months. Brands are frustrated with their organic search efforts and thus their blogs, their resource centers, their social strategies, their thought leadership programs. Well, they're not being nurtured nearly as much as they might. New ideas for new platforms are shot down as either being, well, they're not big enough to make a sizable enough dent, or quite honestly, they're too big and too risky to try and execute, especially when we can just, put more money into AI and paid ads. Launching an organic content marketing platform that establishes that trust just seems hard and too long-term, and why bother? Whether or not Coca-Cola succeeds with this platform and tells a successful story with it, well, that remains to be seen. But see, that's okay. What I like about this, and again, I'm making some levels of assumption here, is that Coca-Cola, they didn't overcomplicate this. They didn't make it so huge as to take a big risk if their restaurant companies don't find value in it, they don't dig it at all. But they also didn't short shrift it so that it would basically become, it's a landing page for a presentation at a trade show. As I've said many times before, with today's marketing technology and processes, launching a new owned content marketing platform like this should be easy, quick, and easily right-sized. For example, I recently talked with a global technology company that said they failed to get buy-in for a new thought leadership program, basically a blog, because integrating it into their enterprise content management system and the marketing automation system was going to skyrocket the cost to 7 figures and 8 months of technical development. So of course, in that case, it's not worth that level of risk. Our owned media platform should be as flexible to deploy as anything else we want to do. Launching an innovative platform like what Coca-Cola did here should be mentioned in days and weeks and maybe months, not quarters or years. Again, Coca-Cola may find that the usefulness of this effort is limited to a few months or a few quarters or many years. But by focusing in on doing the interesting new thing, they've demonstrated that even they, as big as they are open to new things that they have no idea will work or not. When my colleague Joe and I, when we wrote Killing Marketing a few years ago, the whole premise of that book was about launching content platforms that could provide so much value so as to become a profitable aspect of the business. We opened that book with a quote that's largely attributed, though he probably didn't say it, to Mark Twain, and what he said was, "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." That's why I like this launch so much and why I'm so excited by it. If Coca-Cola's lens works, it will probably be just as much a surprise to them as it will to the rest of us. They don't know. And honestly, that's just a much more exciting way to work on marketing. And that's a few minutes of what's new in marketing. Remember, it's your story to tell. Just try out one, will you? And tell it well. I'll see you next week.